Hello everyone. This video was prompted by another military collector known as the War Room Collector, I think that's the name. But either way, I was watching a video of his on the General Service Respirator Mark IV and Special T mic, and to which of course he brought up a piece of haversack contents for the haversacks in the respirator haversacks. Just note that this contents will go is the exact same for the general service respirator and for the light anti-gas respirator as well. So without any further ado, let's actually go and take a look at these contents. So what we have here is both variants of the Ointment Anti-Gas. We have a number 2 on the left and we have a number 5 on the right. Now, what's the difference? This one is in a much more yellow paint. This one's in blue paint. This one's possibly an early war. This one's a late war example. So, more or less the history. You would see these possibly in the early war period. And these might have seen use all the way to the end of the war. And you would see these. This example was from 1942. I do not know when it actually started, manufacture of the number 5s, but this one's a 1942 example, and you would see these right all the way through to the end of the war. So let's actually take a look. So they are a rectangular tin, basically, and of course the instructions on them, it says, so I'm actually going to read out the instructions. Apply freely to affected portion of skin as soon as possible. Rub in vigorously for not less than 1 minute. Keep away from the eyes. To obtain ointment from tube, see instructions on the back of the box. Now on the back of both of these tins there are some diagrams of how to get the ointment out of the tubes. Now I'd just like to make something clear that the instructions on this one are different from this one, as this one says rub in vigorously for not less than 1 minute. This one says to rub in vigorously for 30 seconds. Right there, 30 seconds. And of course this one actually talks about the gas or whatever. If applied to skin before exposure to an atmosphere containing mustard gas, vapor only, the ointment will prevent or lessen the severity of a burn. So those are just the instructions. We'll take a look at the back. So we're now looking at the back of the tins, and this one has got quite a bit of rust damage, but we can still read. So, to obtain ointment from tube, hold tube at folded end between thumb and forefinger. See figure 1. This is figure 1. Flatten end of tube by squeezing. See figure 2. This is figure 2. In case you want to know, that's figure 1, that's figure 2. Right. Then holding end, so flatten between thumb and forefinger of each hand, tear off end of tube close to the fold. Now you see what that means when we actually take a look on the inside. I will probably put up some whilst I was talking over that, I'll probably put up some footage of demonstrating the correct method of how to hold these, how to hold the tubes. As you can see with this one on the bottom, there is in fact a 2 right there. Fortunately, no date whatsoever. This one, there's 13 MB. God knows what MB could mean. And as you can see, there is 6/42, so June 1942. And the instructions are the exact same. And of course you get a much more better picture of the actual diagram itself of how the tubes are supposed to be held, like that, and there's the instructions as well. So what we shall do is actually take a look at the contents of these tins. Now we are going to take a look at the contents of both tins, but we're going to start off with the number 2 tin. So with the number 2 tin, the lid is somewhat opened already, but basically what you would get inside is a piece of cardboard on the lid. Fortunately the cardboard does come off, and then what you get is 8 tubes, and the instructions that are on the back of the tin are actually, if I just grab one, are replicated on the tube itself, just like that. So practically, so if the tin is not near you at all times and you've just got a tube, well, at least you still have the instructions on how to properly hold it. Now I don't know the exact contents. It's supposed to be an ointment in here, so there's definitely some sort of ointment that would go, that's in here. You would tear off this part here, squeeze all this out, and all you would do is you would apply it to an area. As you can see, there's still the fold. So let's say if I had a cut or a burn or whatever from gas, I would hold it here, I would tear this off, and I would apply all the paste or the ointment to the burn. Now, an interesting little anecdote I want to make about this. So what I will do is I shall take out all the tubes and actually show you this little card backing. Just like that, the tubes have now disappeared. Now we're going to take a look at the card backing and actually the interior of the tin. So we'll move the card backing. As you can see on the tin, there's a lot of rust. I am planning to clean out the tin, the insides, because I have a feeling the reason why it's not closing properly. Oh, now it closes. It's probably because the large amount of rust under here has built up, and it's not allowing the paper or the card to sit properly in there with the tubes. So whenever the tin closes, it always goes like that. But either way, so here we have the piece of card that all the tubes come on, and if we actually flip it over, we do have RNS Limited, and then dash 3149, and then presumably that's a 1. And as you can see, there is nothing else on it, and that's practically about it for the number 2. One final piece I would like to add about the number 2 before we move on to the number 5 is that actually when I grab a hold of one of these tubes, as you'll see, if I just move it, it's still got the original contents on the inside. So this has never been opened since the date it was been packed. This one's actually a very good condition one with all the instructions actually on it, and that's rather nice. But fun enough, a commenter actually told me to stop squeezing it. I suppose is that, well, we don't really know what this material was made out of, possibly some sort of metal, and we do not know if the ointment in here is actually corrosive or not. So we don't know whether that's actually affected it or not. But either way, still the original contents that's been left in there for God knows how long. Now let's take a look at the number 5. Now the number 5 is literally the exact same as the number 2, tin wise. It's actually the contents on the inside which is different. So we open it up, it's going to be the exact same. This one's a little bit stiff, and I'm not going to take the tubes out of this one simply because they're actually quite disgusting. So again, you have your piece of cardboard on the top, and there's your tubes. See why I'm not taking them out? They're quite disgusting. They're covered in cack. I did take them out earlier because I wanted to see what was actually underneath the paper, because if that paper had number and some sort of manufacturing, I want to know if it had the same one. But no. I'll take one, and that's it. And just note, if anyone does watch this and gets up to this part, I am going to be washing my hands after touching this as well. So I'm just going to make that clear. So here okay, I've grabbed this one. So it's the same tube again, same one, except this time you remove all of the instructions on it. As you can see, if I can remove this, just so there's less glare, I can even still squidge it. So yeah, even though this has been in its box for over 80 years, there is still the contents on the inside. I might actually give these a good clean up as well, and possibly a good clean up of the tin itself, because it's rather disgusting. And also, plus I actually bring this with me whenever I go to shows and stuff. So if I actually go and put this back side of its card, this should be fine. There we go. Oh wait, it's supposed to go the other way. Oh, you numpty. If I can just try, there we go. Now of course I'll close that back up, and we'll move on to the final part. Okay, so after washing my hands to get rid of all that cack, we're going to talk about the final part, which is actually well, their availability, really. You can find these tins. These tins do still kick about quite a bit. They kick about on eBay. You can even find I believe it's a number 3 or a number 4, where it's actually in green paint. I would like to add one of each number of tin. So a number 1, I've got a number 2, I'd like to add a number 3 and a number 4, and I've already got a number 5. Don't know whether they made a number 6, but that's besides the point. You can find, like I said, you can find these tins on eBay and various other dealers. Typically, the ones you find on eBay don't have the contents in them, simply because the contents was probably thrown out ages ago, or it's either due to guidelines as well. I've only seen one with the contents actually in, and I believe it was actually number 5 with the contents in. But even then, if you try to get them with the contents, it's the price is ridiculous. And just like to make a quick note about the price point and where these two actually came from. This one I found in the haversack for my Mark V long hose, and this one was gifted to me along with a anti-dimming outfit and a CDR, civilian duty respirator. But either way, so the best place is, if you want to add one to your own personal collection, keep your eye out at some shows and on eBay as well. You might be able to pick up one for a good price on auction as well, if you can find them. But that's all from me today. Hopefully this was helped with the war room collector, especially talking about something that's quite interesting, especially the Ointment Anti-Gas number 2 and number 5, as I think these are starting to get a little bit more scarce. I think, correct me if I'm wrong. But either way, these are very nice pieces of kit to have. And if you're doing a display, you know, with your respirator Mark 4, Mark 5, or a light Mark 2, it would be nice to have inside the haversite contents for it. One of these tins, at least with the contents on the inside. But however, if you can't get one with the contents, then yeah, you just have to make do. But I think it's better off if you get one with the contents. So either way, I hope you found this video informative and enjoyable. And thanks for watching.